In the modern watch landscape, it's hard to find underrated watch brands, but today I wanted to present 5 of the most underrated watch brands that are growing in popularity and share them with you along with some of my favorites from the brand. So let's get right into it. Guys, before this video begins, I'd really appreciate if you hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Of course, if you're enjoying this content, I would really appreciate it. I'm looking to hit over 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I know I can do it with all of your help. So jumping into today's topic, I wanted to discuss 5 of the most underrated watch brands out there that are actually growing in popularity, starting first with what was once considered a true fashion brand, and that is Louis Vuitton. Now in 2012, Louis Vuitton acquired La Fabrique du Temps, which of course was headed by a bunch of master watchmakers, creating some of the most innovative contemporary movements of today's kind of modern watchmaking landscape for a number of different brands. But really, Louis Vuitton took it under their helm to reinvigorate their watchmaking lineup and create what are some of the most spectacular modern timepieces you'll find on the market today. Now, what's great with Louis Vuitton is the fact that they're not only reinvigorating their brand, but have relaunched and of course reinvigorated the Daniel Roth brand, and I'm really looking forward to in the coming years them working on the Gerald Genta brand, which they also own under their umbrella. It's really exciting to see what Louis Vuitton has created, of course, over the last, I would say, 5 years, with the helm of Jean Arnault, the son of Bernard Arnault, who's of course the owner of the LVMH group, just kind of going strength for strength and really improving upon the incredible watches that LV has been making of late. Some of the highlights for me from the brand include their collaboration with, of course, Kari Voutilainen, as well as Acrivia and Rexha Persepi, the new Tambour Bushido Automata, which is just exceptional. It's really incredible wristwatch that features so many artistic points from the watch, both in terms of finishing and of course in terms of engraving and enamel work. Just an amazing wristwatch, and I really enjoyed their new sports watch, the Tambour collection, which of course I think is one of the best sports watch lineups on the market today. Really cool designs overall. I also want to give a shout out to the Louis Vuitton Watch Prize for Independent Creatives, which happens every other year, supporting new independent watchmakers. Now the prize includes €150,000 prize fund for, of course, the independent watchmaker who wins, as well as a 1-year mentorship under the La Fabrique du Temps, of course, house, to learn new skills and hone their current skills to ultimately make them better watchmakers, but also transfer the incredible skills from one generation to another, which would otherwise be lost. I think what Louis Vuitton is doing in the watch industry is not only helping preserve watchmaking for future generations, but also pushing the boundaries of what we've seen done both creatively and artistically in the watch industry. And I'm really excited to see what comes in the future, especially under the current ownership and of course under the current vision of Jean Arnault. Next up for me is a very young brand, a family-owned brand operating out of Switzerland, and that is Norcane. I feel that Norcane is making some of the best contemporary watches in terms of inventive spirit, using cool materials, of course, really cool and fun designs, and of course the price point being the most attractive part. They're using a lot of great technology, in-house movements from, of course, their collaborations with Kinesi, which are super high-quality movements, and I think that their designs are bar none some of the coolest and most unique watches out there on the market. Now, as I mentioned, their movements are super reliable because, of course, of their collaboration with Kinesi. And for those in the watch industry who are not familiar, this is a brand that's actually partly owned by both Rolex and Tudor. And so a lot of the movements from Kinesi will end up, at least in part, in Tudor watches, and that technology may otherwise be used by Rolex, although we don't personally know that, but I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that they can kind of bounce off of Kinesi and use both in Rolex, and is definitely already used in Tudor. So it's very high quality watchmaking, no doubt about it, in Norcane watches. And of course it comes at a fraction of the price point of what you would normally pay for this kind of level of accuracy and dependability. Some of my favorites from the brand include the Wild One Skeleton 42mm in turquoise, the Purple Independent Skeleton Chrono in 42mm, as well as the Ice Blue Dial Freedom 60 GMT in 40mm. If I had to summarize this brand in one sentence, it's a young contemporary brand making fresh watches that are unique and of course that are different from the rest of the industry, but that are super high quality at a really attractive price point. So if you haven't handled Norcane watches or don't currently own one, it's a brand that I definitely recommend you checking out, because really the quality is there and the unique designs, I think, really lend themselves to be a really attractive brand at a great price point. Next up is a very established brand, an old brand, but that has been really reinvigorated just by simply expanding on their watchmaking prowess and capabilities over the last decade or so, and that is Piaget. Now, Piaget has always mostly been known as a jewelry house, but I feel over the last decade, they've really reinvigorated themselves, of course, with this quest for slim watchmaking, but also just generally with their kind of historical re-editions of old watches and old designs to really kind of reinforce themselves and re-establish themselves as a true watchmaking house and somebody to be well respected and well revered in the watch industry. I think that Piaget has an amazing catalog of vintage watches that unfortunately they weren't using enough in the past, but now that they've come back to this collection, specifically using, for example, the Polo 79 or the Andy Warhol collection, I think they're going from strength to strength, and it's a brand that I feel that is really going to keep increasing in popularity, no doubt about it. Now, my favorite from the brand is their new emphasis on stone dials, which I think is really going to help lead them into the future, both from a dress watch perspective and hopefully one day in their sports watches. I think without question what they're able to do better probably than anybody else in the industry, as good as the only brand I think that treats stone dials as well as them, and that is Rolex, and that is to cut, treat, and really showcase the incredible natural grains of the stone dials. Without question, Piaget is among the very best at doing this in the entire watch industry, and I think if they continue to shine a light on this and focus on this for the future kind of model lines, they're going to have a lot of success. Some of my favorites from the brand's current collection include, of course, as I mentioned, the Polo 79, both in yellow and in white gold. I think they're the perfect sports chic watch for everyday use. The Andy Warhol specifically in white gold with tiger eye dial and rose gold with the malachite dial. I think these are two of the highest contrasting kind of stone dial and metal that just kind of showcase the stone dial really, really well, specifically in those kind of variations. And last but certainly not least, how can I not mention the incredible Altiplano Ultimate Automatics, an automatic ultra thin wristwatch that is thinner than almost a penny, which is just absolutely exceptional. Just a beautiful wristwatch that shows off all the incredible mechanics of the watch right there on the dial side for the user to enjoy. And of course, that is finished to an exceptionally high level to showcase Piaget's amazing watchmaking. I'm so bummed because we actually filmed a great sit-down interview with Piaget at Watches and Wonders. Unfortunately, the audio was corrupted, and so we really couldn't use any of the footage that we filmed, but I'm looking forward to more footage of Piaget watches in the future that I would love for you guys to look out for, because the brand is going from strength to strength, and it is one that I feel that people should be on the lookout for and definitely explore some great potential options, because overall, I think that their watchmaking is super high quality and very, very underrated in today's market. Now, again, for those in the watch industry, this brand will come as no shocker, of course, because it is a well-respected and already well-established brand, and that is Nomos, which is unquestionably what I feel one of the kind of pillars of the kings of value. What you're getting, of course, is that incredible German Bauhaus kind of design, the incredible case making, but mostly in-house movements with exceptional finishing, all for price points at the most part well under the $6,000 price point, in some cases even under $4,000. It's just exceptional what Nomos is able to achieve, and just kind of goes to show you just how much these brands are able to do with less, where others are really charging an arm and a leg for things like in-house movements and finishing to the level that Nomos is able to achieve at a fraction of the price point. Again, this is a brand that I feel has really been elevating in terms of its popularity over the last couple of years, just due to the fact that their overall watches are exceptionally well priced, very well finished. And again, that kind of minimalist design is really making a comeback, right? Smaller case sizes with that minimalist design, I think is really what Nomos does the best in the watch industry. And I think that it's something that they do at a really, really high level. And again, at an affordable price point, which I think collectors really do appreciate. Some of my highlights from the brand include the collections like the Ludwig, for example, with its more kind of traditionally dressy aesthetic and Bauhaus inspired design, the Club for its very sporty and colorful designs, and the World Timer, which I think is super functional, easy to use, and again comes at a great price point right around $6,000. I think it's almost impossible to beat when you're talking about World Time watches finished at that level. And last but certainly not least is a brand that is now independent, but regained its independence only in 2022, and since then has really gone from strength to strength to reinvigorate the brand, and that is Ulysse Nardin. Ulysse Nardin has been a watchmaker since the 1800s and one of the most respected in the world. But there's no question about it that if you look back prior to, of course, it becoming independent once again, it was a very dusty and old brand. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, this was a watch brand that was appealing to people who were very established collectors of a very older, a significantly older age than they're appealing to now, where now there's a lot more life in the brand, there's a lot more ingenuity, there's a lot more exploration and just uniqueness to their overall watch designs that I think is really helping them go from strength to strength and establishing a customer base from UN that is a lot younger and that brings a fresh new kind of energy to the brand that I think is really, really exciting. Now, one thing I'm really excited to see with UN is next year's releases because, of course, they're celebrating a huge milestone for the brand, and that is the 25th anniversary of the Freak. But I think that in the 25th anniversary, we are going to see a lot of new things with the Freak model line that I'm really, really excited about. And hopefully, I think they will make a major comeback as a result of this kind of new releases to the Freak line that I think will really hit home with a lot of collectors. Some of my highlights from the brand include the new Diver Air, which again, I didn't even mention in this video so far, which is just exceptional. I think that they're able to achieve such a lightweight, amazing kind of racing machine on the wrist is what they call it for Richard Mille, but in this case, it's kind of a diver, but kind of that lightweight, kind of sporty aesthetic that is just amazing to kind of witness on wrist. When you actually put that watch on, it's just awesome to feel, even though you really don't feel anything because it is so light. I also love the Freak X in rose gold with black DLC and the Freak One in carbon, both of which use kind of that kind of Freak aesthetic, but are brought to the 21st century and of course have that incredible modern technology. So guys, these are my top 5 underrated watch brands on the rise. What do you think of my list? Of course, please let me know down in the comments below if you think there are other underrated brands that I forgot about. I think one that also hits home, of course, is Longines. Although they're becoming less and less underrated and more perfectly rated, I think a lot of watch collectors are looking to Longines for the amazing history and, of course, the incredible designs and price points from the brand. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below of my list. Let me know, of course, if you have any suggestions in terms of videos you would like to see from me here on the Bourdain's Jewelry YouTube channel. I'm always open to ideas. And again, if you enjoyed this video, my name is Marco for Bourdain's Jewelry. As always, I will see you guys in the next one.